Hello and welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to a weekend preview, previewing all the Premier League and Championship action this weekend. So let's get straight into it with Tottenham versus Wolves. And yeah, this is an interesting one because Tottenham, I think, 4 points from the start of the season. Chelsea away last week, maybe fortunate to get a point, but on the whole, a solid start for them. And Wolves, a disappointing start. Two probably winnable games to start the season. They've only picked up 1 point from it, so they'll be desperate for a result here. But Tottenham are looking really strong to start the season here. And yeah, I think you've got to back them for the win here. I'm going to say 2-0 to Spurs. Moving on then to another interesting one at Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. Palace obviously getting that really gritty draw against Liverpool. They've had a bit of a nightmare start with Liverpool and Arsenal, but to come away with a point, I think they'll be happy with that. Against an Aston Villa side, beat Everton last weekend, lost to Bournemouth before that, so maybe a bit of inconsistency here. But I think Palace really impressed last time out. Villa will want to come here and get something, so I think it will be quite a tight game, which is why I'm going to predict a draw here. I'm going to say 1 apiece. Moving on then to Everton as they take on Nottingham Forest at Goodison Park. And Everton, not a great start to the season to say the least, really. Two home losses, one home, one away loss to kick off season. Forest getting a win against West Ham last time out will give them so much more confidence, showing they can compete at this level. So yeah, it won't be an easy game for Everton at all, I think, coming with Nottingham Forest coming into town. They'll push for everything, but I can see Everton just about edging it out. I'm going to say 2-1. Moving on then to Fulham as they take on Brentford at Craven Cottage. And Fulham, I think it's been a brilliant start to the season so far for them. Would have been really good, perfect start to the season. Mitrovic had put away that penalty against Wolves, but they've been competitive in both games. One against Liverpool, for goodness sake, they're looking really good. Brentford, though, on the crest of the wave after that 4-0 win against Manchester United, turning 2 late goals away at Leicester. This is going to be a really interesting game between two informed teams, and it's really hard to call a winner in this one, which is why I'm going to go down the middle and call it a draw. Moving on then to Leicester as they take on Southampton at the King Power Stadium. And Leicester, 1 point from 2 games so far. I think they'll be a bit disappointed with their start. And Southampton as well, 1 point from 2 games. Both teams will really want to get a win here, to really kickstart their season. Just looking at the two squads, though, especially with being at home, I think Leicester probably do have the stronger squad here, which is why for me they are favourites going into this one. So I'm going to say 2-0 to Leicester here. Moving on into Bournemouth as they take on Arsenal at the Vitality. And Bournemouth, 2-0 win against Villa last time out, but then obviously got thrashed 4-0 by City. I don't think anyone really expected a different result. But Arsenal, they just look really, really good so far this season. Jesus coming in for them has really added a different dimension. They look like a totally different team with him in it. And I think against a team like Bournemouth, they should be able to win this one quite comfortably. I'm going to say a 2-0 win for the Gooners. Moving on then to Leeds as they take on Chelsea at Ellen Road. And Leeds, I think they'll be gutted with last week, having a 2-0 lead away at Southampton and chucking away. They'll be so disappointed with that, but still 4 points from 2 is a good start to the season against Chelsea side who will feel wronged after that game against Tottenham. So they'll be coming into this one really wanting payback and revenge, etc, etc. So I think Chelsea will be fired up for that one. I think on the whole they will just have a bit too much for Leeds, so I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to West Ham as they take on Brighton at the London Stadium. And West Ham, no points to kick off the season. Obviously one was against Man City, but one was against Nottingham Forest, and that'll be a really disappointing result. There is pressure on them to get a win here. Brighton, 4 points to kick off the season. I think they'll be absolutely delighted with that. Really should have been 6 with that game against Newcastle, but still a solid start, and no one wants to build on that. But I think West Ham, just at home, they need to win this one really to get the season started. I think they'll just manage it. I'm going to say 2-1. Moving on then to Newcastle as they take on Man City at St James's Park. And this is an intriguing one because Newcastle, obviously, 4 points from their games. They've had a really strong start. Man City, 2 games as well, 6 points, dominant in both games. But I think this will be a really tough test, and the atmosphere is rocking at St James's Park at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond. I think they still do have enough quality to come away with a win here, but I don't think it'll be easy at all. I'm going to say 2-0. The big game of the weekend happens on Monday night as Manchester United take on Liverpool. United, what can you say? They've just been an absolute shambles so far in both games. It's looking like a long season. Liverpool as well, they haven't got off to the greatest start. 2 draws to kick off the season, 2 games that they really should be winning. So, both teams really need to improve here, especially Man United, but you just feel like Liverpool will just be absolutely relishing this game with the crisis there at the moment and can really take advantage of it, and I think they will do. I'm going to say 3-0 to Liverpool. Moving on then to the Championship action this week, and starting off with a Friday night football between Norwich and Millwall. Norwich, I think their confidence will be given a massive boost by their win last time out against Huddersfield. That's a big one for them. And Millwall, though, coming from 2-0 down in stoppage time through 2 own goals to get a draw against Swansea, that will give them a massive boost as well. So I think both teams will be coming to this one on a bit of a high, which could create for a really entertaining game in this one. But yeah, I just fancy Norwich at home with the more quality they have to just edge it. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on then to Birmingham as they take on Wigan at St Andrews. And yeah, this is an intriguing one because Birmingham, I think they've got off to a pretty decent start to the season, certainly better than I expected. So yeah, they'll be really pleased with that. Draw against Watford last time out wasn't a bad result either. And Wigan, three games, 3 draws. Sort of starts them life back in the Championship. But Birmingham at home here, I think they'll like to build their good start here, and I think they will do. I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to Burnley as they take on Blackpool at Turf Moor. And yeah, this is an interesting one because Burnley drawing to Hull last time out, losing to Watford, drawing to Luton. Not on the best of runs since that really good opening day win for Vincent Kompany's men. So they'll be looking to rebound against the Blackpool side that started off the season really well, point more than Burnley. So it will be an intriguing one, this one. But I think Vincent Kompany's side at home will just have a bit too much for Blackpool here. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on into Preston as they take on Watford at Deepdale. And yeah, Preston, coming into this one on a solid run, I would say, but they probably would have wanted to beat Rotherham last time out, but still a decent run against a Watford side they're unbeaten so far, a few too many draws for their liking, but this is an intriguing one with them Worm in third. I think they'll be happy with their start, but against teams also had a good start, but yeah, I think Watford will just edge this one. I'm going to say 2-0. QPR take on Rotherham at Loftus Road in a Championship on Saturday, and yeah, QPR, they're just inconsistent so far, aren't they? They've had a few really good moments, like a win against Middlesbrough, but then losing home to Blackpool is a disappointing result. Certainly the Anchor cross as well. Funny old scenes they're having, but Rotherham really solid since they came back to Championship. 5 points from now, 3. They'll be delighted with that. But yeah, I think QPR will want a response from Wednesday. I think they will get one here. I'm going to say 2-0. Moving on then to Reading as they take on Middlesbrough at the Medeski. And yeah, Reading, talk about a response. They just absolutely bossed it against Blackburn on Wednesday, and they'll be delighted with that, and they'll be really looking to carry it in. Middlesbrough, I think they'll be frustrated not to get the win against Stoke last time out, so they'll want to come with a bit of reaction here. But if Reading perform like they did on Saturday, they'll be happy. It's just the inconsistency with Reading though. But I think they'll still be solid. I think they'll have enough to get a point here. I'm going to say 1-1. Moving on then to Sheffield United as they take on Blackburn at Bramall Lane. And yeah, Sheffield United come into this one off the back of a solid win against Sunderland, and yeah, really starting to get momentum now after what I'd say was a fairly solid start to the season in 4th, but against Blackburn who were in 1st, but obviously came crashing down to life with that loss against Reading where they were really, really poor, so they'll be looking to react to that, and it'll be intriguing to see which way this goes, but I just fancy Sheffield United here to have enough to just about edge Blackburn. I'm going to say 2-1. Moving on then to Stoke as they take on Sunderland at the Bet365 Stadium, and yeah, Stoke, they'll come into this one off the back of a 2-2 draw against Middlesbrough. It's not been the ideal start to the season for them. In 18th, pressure on Michael O'Neill probably already, imagine, against Sunderland side who'd only just lost in 1 game last time out in 11th, so they've had a pretty solid start to life back in the Championship. It'll be a close game this one, but you know what, I'm going to say Stoke will just about edge it. I'm going to say 2-0 to Stoke. Moving on then to West Brom as they take on Hull at the Hawthorns, and yeah, if one of these sides was in the relegation zone, one of them is in the top 2, which they are, I'd probably say the other way round, but fair play to Hull, they've got off to a great start to the season. They'll be coming to this one with lots of confidence. West Brom need a win. I think it will just a matter of getting John Swift, Jeb Wallace, etc., all the recruits, getting settled into the team, and yeah, I think it will click eventually, and maybe it could be this week. I'm going to say they'll get a 2-0 win here, West Brom. Moving on then to Swansea as they take on Luton at the Liberty, and yes, Swansea, those 2 goals in stoppage time against Millwall, I think that will have a big effect because it's just such a terrible clash, really. they'll be absolutely fuming with that. They'll want a response. But against the Luton side, they've really struggled so far. Probably been my disappointment of the season so far. I know you need to get back on track. But yeah, I just fancy Swans here to have a bit of reaction and get the victory. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on then to Bristol City as they take on Cardiff at Aston Gate. And Bristol City, I think they'll be relatively content with their start of the season. 15th, 4 points from 4 games. Maybe could have been a bit better. But on that one, not too bad. Cardiff, 7 points from there, 4. They'll be happy as well. I think both teams coming into competence. Where Cardiff was a good way draw last time out, Bristol City good win. Both teams coming into competence. I think there won't be a lot to separate it. I'm going to say 1-1. But anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. No thoughts, comments down below. If you want to for daily football news and squad notes, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.